Recording. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first episode of a new campaign. For those of you who didn't watch the videos from last night, because of the nonsense with the Open Gaming license, I have forsworn running Dragonlance on YouTube at the moment, and we're going to run another wonderful game called Blades in the Dark. It is a creation of a company called Evil Hat Productions, and it is an enormous amount of fun. So, for my players and for anyone who's not familiar in general, Blades in the Dark is a post apocalyptic setting. 850 years before our game began, it was a high fantasy setting, heroes and knights and sorcery. Then somebody did a dump. The sun was blown out. The gates of death were slammed shut. This means the world is eternally pitch black. For 12, just at dawn, what would have been dawn at one time, there's a bit of a glow, a very dim version of twilight. And it happens again at what would have been sunset. The sky is pitch black, except at night you can see the moon, which all reports are saying is getting either bigger or closer. Nobody knows why. The seas have also turned inky black. But when you look up into the sky, you cannot see the stars. If you're passing over the oceans and you look down deep under the water, you can see stars and constellations. So the problem with the doors of death shutting is the dead now walk, and they're angry because everyone who dies is stuck. Demons are running around. The Immortal Emperor, who runs pretty much everything that's left at this point, got these walls of lightning created that's around the cities. Our game is going to take place in a city called Duskvol, or Duskwall, or simply the Dusk. Our party is not heroes. This is not a time of heroes. This is not a time of epic adventures. This is a time of thieves and assassins and rogues. This is a heist game in a haunted Victorian-style city with steampunk technology that is powered by the blood of demons. What we're going to do tonight, for a start, is we're going to have everybody create characters, and we're going to do a session 0. There's a couple of decisions that everybody has to make about their character. Let me get... And the first one, just for the sake of making everything easier on everyone, even though it's not quite the order they give you in the book, is I'm going to have you each choose what type of scoundrel you want to be. So there are two factors in particular that this is going to focus on right now, which are playbooks. One playbook is something each of you is going to choose, which is the way that you approach crimes. It isn't the be-all and end-all. You can be Cutter, which are the more warrior types, who's also really sneaky. This is not Dungeons & Dragons. Playbooks are not classes. I would prefer that everybody choose a different playbook, just because I think it gives you a better variety of characters, but it's not absolutely necessary. The other thing, so each of you are going to pick one of those individually. You're going to create your characters, and then you're as a group going to choose another playbook, which answers the question, what type of crimes do we specialize in? Could be smuggling or assassins or mercenary and extortion work. It'll be up to you as a group to decide. With no input from me, and the rest of the campaign is going to focus heavily on what you guys decide you want to do. Choosing a type of crime you specialize in, also, you're not married to it. If you decide you want to be a gang of assassins, but you get the urge to go rob somebody, you can still do that, and you'll still probably be pretty good at it. It's what your group makes a name for themselves doing. Everybody with me so far?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got one question. I was going to vet it in the chat first. How the hell does assassination work in a world where the dead just get back up?
Well, the bodies don't usually get back up, it's the ghosts. But that's still a good question because how do you stop the ghosts? There's a group within the city called the Spirit Wardens. Um,
Mhm.
Nobody knows who they are because when they're on duty, they always wear spirit masks, which are bronze masks that completely cover their face, and hooded cloaks. Whenever someone dies in the city, bells at the crematorium ring, and a raven will go out from the crematorium and start to circle first the district and then getting closer and closer to where the body is. The wardens will go out and find it and bring it back. The substance that everything runs on in this world is electroplasm. It's ectoplasm but electrified. It is what ghosts are made of. It's what demons are made of. Blood is made out of. If you soak a body in electroplasm within the first 3 days after death, it completely dissolves and it dissolves the soul away too, which means no ghost. If you
That's
guys,
disturbing.
yeah, isn't it? If you guys decide you want to go the assassination route, there are things that you can choose that will allow you to destroy bodies in the same way. Because the other big concern you have in here is much like in Grand Theft Auto, there is what's called a heat system here, which is how much attention the law enforcement's paying into your group. More attention is obviously not a desirable thing. And one of the ways to kick up how much attention you draw is by killing somebody. But assassins
Sounds
have
like
ways of offsetting that.
sounds like there's enough lore to assassination in a world where the gates have shut
Yeah,
that that I kind of vote for going the assassin route, but I'm
it
skipping
is.
ahead there.
Yeah, it's a not a bad choice. And again, I'm not going to tell you guys what to pick. You guys are going to decide. So let's start with what type of character each of you wants to choose. Here, there are 7 options. First ones are called cutters. Cutters are good at winning fights with violence and with intimidation. If you want to get your way through violence, a cutter is the way you want to go. Then you have hounds. Hounds are good at tracking things down and long distance combat. Um, Cutters tend to deal with up close and personal. Hounds tend to deal with rifles and sniping and things like that. Not that either is bad at the other, it's just that they have particular advantages that way of fighting. Then there
For
are leeches.
Oh
Leeches
God,
are alchemists.
it almost
Hmm.
lines up 1-to-1 with Firefly.
Okay.
I I see the same flavor, but I'm not seeing one to one with Firefly.
Well, I can put every character from Firefly into it. That's what I was.
I don't think that's unintentional. I'll put it like that. So
Okay.
next choice is leeches, which are alchemists. You can make potions, you can make bombs. You're really good at blowing things up. Um, Lurks, which are good at are your sneaky types. They're good at sneaking around, breaking into places. If that's what you want to do, the lurks the good way to go. Slides are your faces. They're the ones that are good at social situations and social subterfuge. Closely related to slides are what are called spiders. Spiders are your masterminds. They're the guy who knows a guy. They're the guys that are good at planning. And then the last one is the whisper. Whispers are the ones that are experts at dealing with the spirit world. They can do ritual magic, like summoning and binding ghosts. Or if you really want to get yourself in trouble, you can try and summon and control demons. Not the most recommended plan.
Just because you said it, someone's gonna try it.
Well, of course. Just because it's a bad idea doesn't mean it won't be a good time.
I'm interested in the spider.
Okay. Anyone else want the spider? You want to argue for that, or is that everybody go with Jimmy taking it?
I'm good.
Okay. Give me a moment, Jimmy. I will create A spider character sheet for you. I'll separate out one, I should say.
I find the whole mechanics of ghosts and sealed afterlife both terrifying,
Mhm.
fascinating, and confusing as hell. I think I might try the Whisper.
Good choice. Edit. Let's see, where's duplicate? Anybody object to him taking Whisper?
I was thinking of taking Whisper, but I'm trying to remember what are Leech and Lurk.
Leech are your alchemists. They're good at blowing things up
And building stuff too.
and building stuff and potions and things like that.
And then Lurk.
Then I can do the Leech instead.
If you want to go Whisper, I can do Leech.
Uh, yeah, I don't know how badly you want to do Whisper. Here, I'm good with either. In fact, why don't you take Whisper and I'll take it. Dang it, now I forgot already. Leech.
All right, I'll do Whisper.
Jimmy, you should now have a character sheet available to you named Jimmy.
All right.
That will be a spider. And that's did I get the right one? Yeah, gave him the spider. That was right. Now I gotta do the other ones. So, characters. Whispers next. Whisper.
Well, you made 2 copies there.
Yep, I'll delete the extras later. That's no big deal. So who's taking the Whisper?
That would be me.
Okay. Well, that's something else worth mentioning. Because this is a criminals game, there is a reality that your characters may get arrested from time to time. The solution to which, if one of you is arrested and the rest of you aren't, is the arrested one takes up another character for a while.
It was also mentioning that you can play from prison.
That's true to a point as well. Why is it not letting me? That's strange.
This game is fond of flashbacks and flash forwards. I can imagine being in prison, being like in the courtyard playing chess with the warden and like describing all the ways your crew is coming for you just to hand bonuses off to the crew who's actually undertaking the mission you're describing.
David, I'll give him up. Okay, David, I created a character for you. It's not letting me give you control of it and allowing you to edit it for some reason.
Well, that's interesting because if I expand the characters tab, I appear able to edit the base Whisper sheet.
Well, yeah, everybody can edit the base ones.
Is there a way to make the squares with all the people's things not be taking up the left side of the screen?
I don't know.
Okay. I can edit copy of Whisper, but I can't even see the character sheet on never mind. The David one's working now.
Yeah, I
There we
set it
go.
so everybody could edit it until I could figure out why that's not working. And Amisha is taking the leech. So I'll duplicate.
Oh, I
And
think I have an answer for that. We'll see. Okay.
and not Brian. Mike, you're the last one. Any idea what you want to play?
It really depends on what we're thinking of doing as a crew. Because depending upon what we do, there may be something that we need hound. Like if we're doing assassinations, we probably want a hound. If we are doing smugglers,
I
we
kind of like the shadow thing where you sneak around and spy. And
we probably want a lurker. So
Mhm.
it's more of what type of
Right.
what do we actually want to do as a crew?
Let me address that real quick, because what you're going to run into is one, all of the character types are useful on just about every crew, and two, it's what you specialize. And it's still very easy to make Lurk, for example, who's going to be very good at shooting things.
Yeah.
But we
wasn't
can
there a
all,
thing where you can basically use whatever attribute if you can justify it or something?
yes, absolutely correct. So that's actually worth discussing now, because it might help Mike's choice. So there are a couple of skills. Well, there's 12 skills to be precise. All of which are very general for quite deliberately. Hunt, for example, is a skill. Hunt is tracking things, following people. It's also taking a sniper shot. Study, which is doing research in books, it's also observing somebody and trying to figure out what they're thinking, what they're feeling. Um, survey, which is looking into a general situation. Study focuses on something very specific. Survey is more of a big picture type of thing. You could study one person at a party, you might survey the entire party to get a feel for the room. Tinker is making and taking apart things. It's also what you usually use for picking locks. Finesse is anything you do with dexterity. Um, you can use it to pick somebody's pocket, to climb a wall. You can also use it in a one-to-one duel, in a fight. Um, prowl is sneaking around. It's going without being seen. Skirmish is big melee. It's more of a melee situation where it's a bunch of people fighting each other. Um, wreck is destroying things, blowing it up, taking a sledgehammer to something. It's break it. Attune is magic and dealing with ghosts. Command is intimidation and bossing people around in general. Consort is partying with. It's a social one of two social skills that is more finesse as opposed to the brute force command. Um, when you consort, it's usually like at a party, at a bar, or something like that. And sway is more like fast talk. What Jimmy said that's absolutely correct is these skills are not hard and fast. They're deliberately vague for a reason.
Yeah.
If hunt, you use the snake.
I think I'll go with cutter.
Okay, then I will do that, and we can move forward. And somebody who can fight's always a good choice in the crew.
Yes, we have a pretty diverse group.
Yeah. Cutter.
That works.
Oh, there we go.
W. Okay, now everybody should have a copy. Wait, save. Everybody should have a copy of a character sheet that they can access and edit. And we can move forward. Next thing you guys want to do is decide on your heritage, which is where your character is from. There's a couple of options which mean different things. Let me get to the page that has the specific information. There we go. So you could be from Akoros. Akoros is the biggest and most industrialized country in the Imperium. It's the home to the capital city. It's also the home to the city of Duskvol, where the adventure begins. They're
Who's
known.
eating?
I don't know, but the
Sorry,
Arcros.
I'm muting myself.
Okay, Arcros is known as a very diverse area with a lot of different cultures melting together. It's a bit like Europe, essentially. You could also be from the Dagger Isles, which is more of a rootless wanderer type of area. People grow there often grow up on ships, and they travel a lot before they settle down. They're particularly known for being corsairs and for being merchants who live without the lightning barriers that keep the spirits out of your city. If you want something a little more exotic, you might go with Eruvia, which is a rich and powerful desert kingdom far that's to the south of what you are now. Um, it's a culture very much that's kind of a mix of Persia, Egypt, and India. If you want something a little more wild and barbarian like, you might go with Severos. There's a few imperial settlements in that area, but most of it is nomadic horse tribes scattered across the blasted lands, surviving within ruins of ancient fortresses that have magic on them that repel spirits. There's also Scovlon, which are a marginalized island kingdom just across the sea from where you are now. Of all the different groups I've mentioned, they were the last one to be brought under the rule of the emperor. In point of fact, that happened during a 40-year war known as the Unity War, which ended only a couple of years before the game starts. Um, a lot of refugees have come out of scope of that area because of the fact they need jobs. And then the last group is Tychros, which is what you want to go with if you want a weird type of character. It's a semi-mythical area up above the North Sea. Everyone says that the people there are have a bit of demon blood in them. So if you were to go with a Tychros, you're going to pick some sort of weird demonic telltale. Like maybe you have black shark eyes, feathers in place of hairs, or something like that marks your character. I believe if you look at heritage on your characters, there's a list of the ones I just named. So you got to pick one of those.
I like Eruvian.
Okay.
I'm taking Dagger Isles. I figure my character grew up around spirits and is gonna have the ghost sense. So they're always just aware of entities and spirits and shit.
Okay.
Thinking for my character, I can't remember how to pronounce the first one. And just because I'm picturing her parent was a school teacher and she didn't get along well with them.
The Akaros.
Yes.
Okay. And Mike?
Whichever one was the European one.
Akaros as well.
Necros.
So something the two of you may consider is, do your characters know each other? Did your characters know each other before you started the crew? Are you related to each other even? Or just maybe you both went to her mother's school? Or you may not have known each other at all before this all started. It's up to you. The next thing you want to decide is a background. What did you do before you became a crook? You could have been an academic, which is you could have done some sort of labor. You've been in law, trade, military, noble, or you might have always been a crook and just pick underworld.
Trade.
Okay.
Military intelligence.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
Cabin boy, aka labor.
No,
I'm assuming. So my question here is: how superstitious are Dagger Islanders? Are they like actual old timey pirates where my character starts seeing things and doing things, and they're like, "You're bad luck. Get off our ship," and they just kind of dumped him in Duskville. or Duskvol.
Well, see, that's the beauty of the setting. It's a fairly setting light game. So answer that question yourself. Is Dagger Isles very superstitious? Did you get kicked off your ship?
I'd say they have to that they don't hang out with the lightning wall. So yeah, if something's attracting even more spirits to them, that's bad news for them. Like just from a practical standpoint. So yeah, they kicked me to the curb.
You could actually control those spirits potentially, though.
Potentially, I've only started looking at some of the powers, and I'm gonna be hyper aware of
Yeah.
supernatural
Yeah, I
entities,
think
ghost
that's right,
mind.
We'll get into that in a bit, but that's a good. I think that's great.
yeah, it's a neat idea.
So a little bit about the world to give you guys a little more filler information. The two main types of boats that you're going to have out there are, well, the main types of boats are going to be your usual boats like you'd have in our world, which would be fishing ships and trade and things of that nature. And yes, there are pirates, of course. The other thing that you have out running around out on the oceans is Leviathan hunter ships. Leviathans are giant sea demons. And that's the main source of the electroplasm that runs everything.
The demon side, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like this world's version of whaling.
Food wise, if you're wondering what your characters eat, for most people, the main diet in the city is eels. They're one of the few fish that you can reliably trust not to have been tainted by the demonic energy running through the waters. Other than eels, mushrooms are very popular. If you're very, very rich, there are a few chickens still around, a handful of other animals. Birds, for some reason, do better than mammals in this world without a sun, and they've managed to figure out how to use the energy from the electroplasm to grow some plants. But you've got to be stinking rich to get if you're going to get like tomatoes or anything like that.
Algae, I think, might be another thing that some
Yes,
people
algae
use.
is another very common one. So two people I want to say still need to pick a background.
I'm currently caught between an academic and underworld, just because I picture her having started this whole thing at a fairly young age, but she still has the academic background because her mom's going to keep her in school.
Fair enough.
So, kind of think that kid who's like the teacher's kid or the principal's kid, but it's constantly it should be getting in trouble, but they're not because they're special.
That's not a bad choice.
Nice.
And does somebody else need to pick something?
Is it Mike or no? Did you pick one?
No, he went with trade, I want to say, right, Mike?
Yes, I'm building my character around being a butcher.
Good choice. Jimmy, you picked one, and Dave, you picked one?
Yeah, I said labor. I'm assuming my character was too young to have a real position on the ship just
right,
yet.
you were a
before
cabin
they...
boy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Jimmy, what did you go with?
Military intelligence.
Oh, right.
So, what do you think I should go with, academic or underworld?
It's up to you. I think they're both good choices.
Which way do you solve
Question
problems?
is, are you a disappointment to this mother?
That's a good question.
You're the leech, right?
Yes.
Yeah, probably. Academic makes more sense if you're playing with explosives.
I would tend to agree.
If you're playing with alchemy and explosives, I would think academic would go with that, unless you're going military.
Again,
No, I'm not going
Underworld, you might
military.
have learned from an old time explosive, demolitions expert in one of the local gangs. But I would be inclined to agree with Mike that I think academics makes more sense.
You're right.
Okay. So you'll see a list of NPCs on everybody's character sheet. Various interesting characters. You're going to choose one of them who is a close friend of yours. It's a useful contact you know. And then you're going to pick one of the other ones who's a rival and an enemy.
Where? Oh, is this the dangerous friends or?
Yes, that'd be correct. Dangerous friends.
What is a psychonaut?
Drug users that use drugs to expand their consciousness and seek new places of awareness and things of that nature.
All right. If I'm looking at the right thing, would it be Jaren, a blue coat archivist for a friend, and Celia, an information broker for a rival?
Could be. It's up to you.
How do you?
But yeah, you're looking in the right place. Should be arrows, one pointing up, one pointing down. You can see each one. Just hit the up for the friend, down for the enemy. Because it's a question that not everybody may know the answer to. Blue coats are cops. In reality, the theory is they're supposed to be cops. The reality is they're one of the biggest gangs in the city. They're completely corrupt. They work for the rich people. There's also inspectors, which are more like police detectives, and they are actually famously incorruptible.
Okay, I found the strange friends section, and we need an NPC for each of these, or
Yeah,
do we only pick?
Pick two of them. One is your friend, one is your rival.
Okay.
If you're wondering what any of the terms mean, just ask.
Now, mine are pretty clear. I've got ghost, vampire, demon, witch, a spirit trafficker.
Yes, because spirits are a commodity that is bought and sold in this world.
Isn't that lovely?
I will also say this. If your characters die at some point during the campaign, which is of course a possibility, you can either choose to create a new character, or you can choose to just have them come back as a ghost. If you choose to make them a ghost, you can eventually either branch off into what's called a hull, which are automatons run by ghosts, or into a vampire, which is exactly what it sounds like. But that's after you die, so it's not right now. Let me know when everybody's done picking something.
These would be a friend.
I'm good.
Okay. David's working on it. Mike, are you good, or are you still deciding?
I'm gonna take a.
I picked the two. I picked the. Yeah, I picked which one was friend and which one was.
Me too.
Oh, okay. So David, we're waiting on David.
Oh, I got it.
Okay, good.
I'm taking a spirit trafficker friend and a demon rival.
Oh, that'll be fun. I should mention demons in this setting are frighteningly powerful. So the next thing everyone has to decide is a vice. There are two ways you track damage, for lack of a better word. One is harm. It's in four levels. 1, 2, and 3 are bad. 4 means you're dead. And then there's stress. Stress is very much a commodity in this game. There are a number of things you can use it for. For example, giving yourself bonuses on rolls. Giving somebody else a bonus on a roll. Avoiding taking harm. Every time you reach 12 stress, you take a trauma. Once you take 4 trauma, your character retires. You've had too much thing happened to you, you can't cope anymore. The way that you
Sweetie, I can understand you, but really staticky, by the way.
okay, I don't know why.
Oh, and flashbacks. That was another thing you could do
Yeah.
with it, right?
Yeah, we'll get to that later. The way that you relieve stress in this game is indulging a vice. There are a couple of different vices. Everybody has to pick one that is your favorite thing to do. There's a couple of categories, then you want to get a little more specific to that. First one is faith. You're dedicated to an unseen power, forgotten god, ancestor, demons, some higher power. And going to religious services is how you relieve stress. Making sacrifices, for that matter. Gambling. Cards, dice, sporting events. Luxury. You like to spend money on expensive and fancy stuff, going to the nice inns, getting the fine foods. Obligation. You owe somebody service. Maybe it's to your family, maybe it is to the spirit wardens, or the bluecoats, or the military. But you had, during your downtime, you have something you have to go attend to. Pleasure. Enjoy food, drink, drugs, lovers, art, theater, etc. Stupor. Stupor means you love to just bliss out on some kind of drug, or getting drunk, or even maybe just getting the snot beat out of you in a fighting ring. And then the last choice is weird. You like something strange. Maybe you like to experiment with weird essences, or consult with rogue spirits, or observe bizarre rituals and taboos, or maybe something else. What is this? So everybody has to choose a general category of vice that you indulge in.
Let's go with luxury.
Okay,
I'm actually doing luxury too.
that's fine.
I chose pleasure and music,
Okay,
which is along with the theater.
and David, how about
Since I'm
you?
not really sure what type of music they do.
Kind of struggling on this one, torn between obligation and weird.
Weird would sort of fit with what you're playing a little bit,
Yeah.
but
It would. I just feel like that makes the character a little too one-dimensional. Obligation, where they're like obsessively planning the next heist.
Yeah, it could be all sorts of things that the obligation could be.
Mm-hmm.
Could be faith to an ancestor or something.
Or some old god.
To go. Yeah.
I like that take on obligation. The obligation to the crew in planning your next move. It's a neat take